Hey guys, so today we're going to learn how to make a love is in the air kind of heart-shaped balloon in the sky poem kind of piece. Okay, so this could be potentially put on a card also if you wanted to, or you can just have it as a nice paper to give someone as a gift that way. So what you'll need for this is you're just going to need white paper, a template of a heart cut out, which you can find some online, or you can just trace out your best heart. And you're going to need some tape and a watercolor set of some kind. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to decide what we want for the background. You can just do simple clouds and birds like I did here to show your balloon floating away in, or you can create something else. It's your choice. Okay, but the whole title of this is Love is in the Air. So I'm going to show you how I did some of the clouds. I used leaving areas white technique, where you take tape and you put it over the areas where you want your clouds to be. Okay, so you can make thin wispy clouds, you can make some thicker clouds. Usually clouds are pretty horizontal though, so we're going to try to keep the lines horizontal, but I'm going to layer some tape here, and I'm going to do it in skinnier strips. And I'm going to make some bumps and ridges in it as I go too, so I can tear this into pieces. I can make some areas stick up higher than others. And if it ends up being not quite what I want, it's okay, because I can always paint inside of it a little later. I'm just going for a basic cloud kind of shape. And I'm just tearing pieces until I get it how I want it. Okay, and clouds are lots of different shapes and sizes, so there's no right or wrong way to make a cloud. It's however you want. Okay, so I have one cloud there that I just taped on. Okay, and now I can do some other ones. So just pulling more tape, tearing it into little strips, place another one over here. Maybe make this one a little longer and skinnier if I want to. Okay. Put that in there. A little more. So the tape is going to keep the paint from bleeding through that area. So that's why we're using the tape. Okay, so that one's a little longer in some sides. And maybe I'll do another one over here. Do a real skinny one if I wanted to. And make sure your tape is flat. If it's not flat, the paint will bleed through it. Okay. And this is just regular, not really Scotch tape. Well, I guess it's Scotch tape, but it's like a painter's tape in a way too. But whatever you have will work. Any tape is fine. Okay. See, I kind of folded my tape a little bit. I'll just tear that part off. Okay. Okay. Almost there. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so I have a couple clouds on there. So now I'm just going to take my watercolor set, and I'm going to decide what kind of clouds I want. If I want a light background or if I want a darker background. I can mix colors here if I like. So I'm going to start off kind of light. And I'm going to paint all the way around, and I can, usually skies are like dark at the top and they get lighter as they go to the bottom. But really when you're out in the sky, it can all look kind of the same at the same level. So it's really up to you how you want to do this. You can leave some areas for white wispy clouds too. Or you can fill it all in, your choice. You could do a variety of colors. It could be a sunset. It doesn't even have to be blue. Okay, you could do purple, orange. So notice I'm not just painting where the tape is. I'm painting over the whole thing. Okay. If I only paint where the tape is, then nothing's going to show up. Okay, and I'm going here. So I started out kind of light. Now I can get into a darker color now if I want to. A little darker as I go. Changing my color slightly. And I like it kind of wispy like this because then it just adds more texture to it and makes it look more like clouds too. So that's another option. Instead of using tape, just leave some white areas. Okay. If I want to, I could add purple in this as well. Maybe I will add some purple. Ooh, that changed the color. Okay. Almost there. So we're just painting this whole thing until we get it how we like it. And you can take more time on this. Now for me, with watercolors for skies, it spreads faster if you put water on it first. So these are nice little brush pens where they're filled with water in here, and you just get the ink from your watercolor set and you can spread it on. So I'm actually pushing and spreading water on here first, and then I'm getting the color I want, and it helps it to spread a little more and a little faster. Okay, so that's one watercolor technique, wet on wet. So you're wetting the paper first with just water, and then you're putting your color over top. Okay, all right, so now I have my background. And usually you let this dry. Now if your paper gets too wet, it can tear too, so you need to be careful about that. Usually I let this dry before taking the tape off. But if it's not too wet, and thankfully watercolor dries pretty fast, you can start taking the tape off carefully. Also, if it's really wet and you try taking your tape off too soon, it can tear your paper as well. So just be careful and mindful of that. Okay, and now I'm just going through, taking my tape off. You can see that it left some white areas. Okay. Alright, and if it tears the paper a little bit, it's okay. Now if I don't like the shape of that cloud, I can go back with my watercolors and I can fix the shape. Okay, they're very forgiving. Okay. I really like that cloud shape. That one turned out nice. I might go back and fix this one. It looks too boxy to me. This one's still a little wet, but I'm going to be careful in taking this off. Okay. There we have it. Okay, so that's our background. I think I'm going to go back and I'm going to fix this color here a little bit. I have to remember which color I used for that so that I can fix that shape a little bit. And I can go under my clouds too, and I can add a darker color around here too. Now, it won't be perfect because I had tape on there already, but it's still a little better than what it was. Okay. All right, and I can go in and add some colors in these to give them a little more definition, make them stand out a little more. It's kind of hard for you guys to see a little bit, but I'm going to add some of this color into these clouds. There we go, because clouds are always a little bit darker on the bottom than they are on the rest of them, okay, because that's where the shadow ends up coming, okay? So you can work on adding that in if you like, and I'm going to do the same color, I think, for this cloud as I did the other cloud. This will help to separate that paint line too a little more. I add some shadows to my cloud. And there can be some spots here and there inside your cloud too. Show like maybe some holes that show through. a little bit. But don't get too carried away. Like I'm starting to get a little carried away with this cloud. Okay, I don't want to do the whole thing that color. I want it to stay mostly white. Okay, this one's going to have a little bit of a darker bottom too. Okay, all right, so there's our clouds. And now I can go in and I can add some birds. I can do it with a Sharpie or I can do it with watercolor as well. Now Sharpie on paints usually is not a good idea because it will mess up your marker over time. It can make it dry out faster if you're not careful. So I'm just doing these little kind of M's spread out, okay, for little birds, because they're far away. You're not really going to see them up close. So that's why we create them like this, okay? So I'll show you a couple more down here. So just like that, just a spread out M. Okay, you can just have fun with that. You could show a little town below here if you wanted to, if you have something going on down here, a special event. You could do a hot air balloon up in here if you like. Your choice how you want to do it. Okay, so now we have our background all set up. Now we need our heart. Okay, so I'm going to get another piece of paper. I'm going to trace my heart onto this. You can use a Sharpie, pen, pencil, whatever you like. Okay. So my template is out of cardstock. It's a little thicker than regular paper so that it's easy to trace around. Okay. And I can keep this and use it for other projects in the future. Okay. All right, so there's my heart. And now I can either paint it and cut it out, or I can cut it out and then paint it. I think I'm going to paint it first. And I'm just going to do simple red. But I could do different designs in this too. I can do like a dark red on the outside and pink on the inside, however you like it. Okay. So I'm just going to get my watercolors here. And I'm just going to paint a design on the inside. Okay. Maybe I go from dark to light in my heart. And it's okay to get it on the outsides a little bit because you're going to be cutting it out anyway. So I'm keeping it dark in there, and then I'm just spreading it out with some water to get it lighter as I go out. And I can switch colors here to a lighter shade of red. And spread that out. I'm going the same direction with my brush. I could do some harsher lines and get, to where it is splotchy. So I could play with the textures of this too. It doesn't have to be the same everywhere. Okay, so maybe I like it like that, where it's a little rougher, splotchier at the end. Okay, your choice how you want to do it. Maybe I'll make this blend a little more up in here. And just be splotchier down there. Okay, so there's my heart. Or if I want, I could fill it all the way in. And I'm going to let that dry. And then I'm going to think of what kind of poem maybe I want to put on the inside of this heart. Okay, it doesn't have to necessarily be a poem. It could be whatever you want. But just something to show that love is in the air. So I decided to do a poem about love. So, and it had to do with, the balloon flying away. So mine says, Valentine's Day carries my heart away to a distant land, not knowing where it will wander. It floats on forever until it reaches your hands. Okay, so I even added some little symbols in here. And this was actually a mistake that I made in my writing that I fixed by turning it into a heart. So that's a way that you can work with your mistakes as well. And then down here I drew a little hands holding a heart. I don't know if you can see that very well. And then I signed it. Okay, so everyone knows that that is my work. Okay, someone can't steal my poem. All right, so it's a little hard to see because I didn't color it in all the way, so keep that in mind too. And we just use a dark Sharpie. I also use a Sharpie to outline the heart around, and just glue it where you want on your page. Okay, I overlapped it over top of some of the clouds, and then I just drew these little squiggly lines for the part of the ribbon that hangs from the balloon, and then one wavy line down to the corner to show that it's drifting off, that it's a balloon. Okay. Now, if I wanted to leave a little white area in here, or if I have a white crayon or some sort of Sharpie or something like that, I could leave these little white areas on the heart. Now, this one probably won't show up very well. I really need something before I color it, and it would make it look shinier like a balloon. Okay, because balloons do have shiny white areas that work. So I could do some wax resist on this where I do my shiny areas first and then I paint over it. Would probably show up a little better. But yeah, that way you have some shiny areas to show it's more balloon-like. Okay? Alright. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Think of a poem or something that you would like to write inside. Maybe it has to do with something special you want to give this to. And then that's all there is to it. Okay, so you're just cutting and gluing, tracing, and adding some extra little details. Okay? All right, have fun and happy Valentine's Day.